Hello everyone, Namaste. Father Joseph Lagumbay here from the Catholic Universalist Church, and today pag-uusapan natin itong anime na Jujutsu Kaisen. It's because the premise of this anime is very much similar to what is happening in the real world. This video is not really a review about Jujutsu Kaisen, but rather we are actually just taking the spiritual side of Jujutsu Kaisen, kasi alam naman natin na mga anime may pinagbabasihan talaga sila na real life, let's say, practices or mythologies and legends. So in the case of Jujutsu Kaisen, may mga sorcerers na ine-exorcise nila yung tinatawag na mga cursed spirits. So cursed spirits are basically beings, or let's say entities that were created because of the negative thoughts and emotions of humans. Okay, so these are pretty much like artificially created spirits na galing sa negative emotions ng mga tao. So yun yung ine-exorcise nila. Now, why is this very interesting? This is very interesting because in our real world, may mga ganito. Nag-i-exist itong mga ganito. Now, this comes in different terms, in different spiritual or religious traditions, and the terms can be, used interchangeably, but we can agree that all of these are just thought forms. Okay? These are thought forms. If you want to be technical about this, I can discuss to you one by one what are these different thought forms. So number one, we have what we call the tulpa and the servitors. So what is a tulpa? A tulpa is a term coming from Tibetan Buddhism. Yung tulpa kasi is a mentally generated being. So a monk or any practitioner, once he reaches a certain level of, let's say, spiritual maturity, he or she can create a being or an entity from his own mind. Now, this tulpa is actually sentient. Okay, it has its own thoughts and emotions, and it also has its own philosophies. Basically, a tulpa will exist within your mind, no, within your unconscious, and then it appears in your conscious mind as if meron ka talagang totoong kausap. Now, ang servitors naman are somewhat similar with the tulpa, kasi ang mga servitors, it's also a mentally generated being. However, a servitor is created for a specific purpose. And most of the time, servitors do not have sentience. So they're only doing what they are told to do, okay, upon creating them. However, a servitor can become a tulpa through your conscious, let's say, action in order to create the specific servitor into a tulpa, or it might become a tulpa on its own. That's why there has been several practitioners who's really telling us to be careful in dealing with creating tulpas or servitors, because they might turn against us. Okay? That's why in different practices, gumagawa sila ng sigil, nang sa ganon, if the specific servitor or tulpa might go against us, then we can immediately remove them, or banish them. Okay? Remove them from existence. So these are mentally generated beings, no? And kung titingnan naman natin ang perspective ng psychology dito, creating a servitor or a tulpa is somewhat a self-induced DID, or dissociative identity disorder. So Pretty much, yung DID kasi, ito yung tinatawag nila dati na multiple personality disorder, but now it's called DID. And ito yung cases whereby a person has, different personalities, and the other personality is really distinct from the other personality. And there are even some cases that the other personality has, let's say, a disease. Let's say, for example, there was a case that the other personality has diabetes, and the other personality is perfectly healthy. So when that person is on the other personality, when his blood was tested, mataas yung sugar level niya. But if he was on the other personality naman, if he's on another role, so to speak, wala naman siyang diabetes. There were others who are blind. They were blind for 13 years because they were on that specific personality for 13 years. But after 13 years, when the other personality switched back, nakakita na siya. And, these changes are really evident sa katawan ng tao. Others, no? The demonic possession, especially that case of Emily Rose, yung pinalabas sa TV, ano yun? That was a case of a DID. Pero, di ba, paano siya nakakapagsalita ng ibang languages where in fact hindi naman siya nag-aral ng, let's say, Latin? Well, according to Carl Jung, meron tayong collective unconscious, no? So, ito pala mga demonic possession, sometimes these are just mentally generated beings. But are they not real? They are real because they live in the realm of our minds. And remember that the whole universe is mental. No? The whole universe is like a huge program whereby us, ourselves, we are also beings that are generated within the whole universe. Now, if we could see universe as a very huge program, let's say the whole universe is a computer program, we are the characters within that program. Let's say a computer game, Mario Brothers, tayo yung mga characters sa Mario Brothers. Okay? And because we are sentient, we can also create another program within the program. Okay? So these are tulpas and servitors. Now, what is an egregore? There's a third. And this is actually more, let's say, powerful in a way, because egregores are basically just like tulpas and servitors, but most of the time they are not intentionally created. Okay, so an egregore can be created if, for example, you belong in a specific religious organization, or if you belong in a certain office. Even within your family, meron kayong tinatawag na egregore. Yung egregore is a thought form that was created from your collective consciousness. Okay? As long as you believe in something, you are bound into something. That something that connects you, it becomes the egregore. For example, let's say, yung mga natatakot sa, let's say, kapre, no? Na nandun daw sa puno na nasa school nila. So, there are people who don't believe in that, but there are, people who are really, really scared of that myth, no? Hindi yun totoo. Myth or legend, whatever. Hindi yun totoo. But because they strongly believe in that, their collective consciousness now, these negative thought forms will actually manifest into a specific entity. Okay? And through time, this entity nagkakaroon ito ng buhay. We're actually breathing life into this mentally generated images. Kaya kung titingnan niyo yung mga sinasapian, yung sinasabi ng psychology na mass hysteria or mass psychosis, which leads to demonic possessions and worse, mass suicide, it's because of our collective consciousness creating these negative thought forms, and because we believe in it, kaya tayo naaapektuhan. Diba? And tapos maniniwala talaga sila na sinasapian sila ng espiritu. It's because nagko-coincide yung sinasabi ng mga sinasapian. It's because they are interconnected to this egregore, to this negative energy, this negative thought form, this negative entity that was created, no? So, egregores are not really bad. No, they can be good. They can also have their, own, let's say, grayish identity, whereby they can be good or bad when they have their own personality. But normally, egregores don't really have a sentience on their own. They are just created there. It's just a thought form. It's just like, just there. It's just residing within the unconscious. However, according to some mystics, if a magician or a spiritual practitioner is very advanced in his craft, he can actually give sentience to a specific egregore, at dun siya nagiging isang deity, or nagiging isa siyang, let's say, artificially created spirit na kung saan it acts as quote-unquote a god. Okay? Kaya naman, dear brothers and sisters, I have, shared several videos before that it's really important that we check the sigils, the symbols, and the spirits, quote unquote, that we are calling in our, let's say, prayers, in our rituals, and whatever that we are doing. It's because we might be calling entities that are created from negative thought forms, which we call now as demons, which we call now as evil spirits, because these entities became alive due to our collective consciousness, no? So as much as possible, let's not call these entities, or before you will practice any sort of, let's say, calls, like calling entities, or if you will try to create a tulpa or a servitor, please, 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 always have a mentor in doing these things. Okay? Hindi ito basta-basta. This is not for, the typical, alam mo yun, beginner or newbie in the path. You need to make sure that if you are creating these entities, tulpas, servitors, or egregores, make sure that you pay attention to every detail, because you don't want these beings to turn against you or to suck energy from you. And make sure that when you create something, that something is something that you can control. Okay? Kasi nga, hindi ito basta-basta ginagawa at hindi ito basta-basta lang itinuturo. I don't teach this to anyone, though I have experiences with tulpas, servitors, and egregores before, but, please proceed with caution. Alright? Because, tulad ng anime na Jujutsu Kaisen, this might create havoc in our real life. And we need to exorcise them. We need to be able to totally eradicate these negative thought forms by generating positive and a more uplifting thought forms. Okay? Because this thing right here, this is very powerful. And this is our only weapon in order to banish all the evil spirits that will ever arise in this world. Now, I hope that makes sense, alright? Thank you so much for watching. Namaste.